once again, we're attempting to blow the car up. Hopefully it'll roll over this time.
Get it right this time.
We have full confidence. Lock and load.
The freeway scene takes place in the Matrix, so already it's not a conventional car chase. And when all those movies, when Bullet came out, or when French Connection came out, and these movies had the kind of seminal car chases that you've seen, that you've never seen before, you know, they're locked in a reality base, a reality world. This car chase, the boys put it in a non-reality world. So you see something that you can't believe you're seeing.
My biggest fear about it was, I guess, dying.
It's really well written, and I suppose that helps to get over the pain of really realizing how much there has to be done.
There's stress and politics and fear of failure, you know.
It's so relentless. You know, we get on the cars start going on the freeway, the cops are following us. There's the twins, they're firing, they're morphing. Trinity gets on a bike, she goes the wrong way.
We kept wondering how they were going to actually break out the sequences, and so Larry and Andy would work with Steve Scroach really about the storyboards, and they kept it pretty much to themselves until one day we had this big meeting scheduled on the green table in the Venice office, and we had stunts and transportation and everybody there, and they handed out the storyboards, and everybody opens up the first page. And we got about to like page 2, and everybody looked at it and said, how are we going to do this?
It's huge. It's huge.
The filmmaking process is a collaborative process. It's impossible for like one person or two people to do all the jobs that need to be done.
I absolutely love R.A. He's done a fantastic job.
Well, they didn't say anything other than it was The Matrix, and knowing just the name up front made me very excited. I was flattered. I started when I was 19 years old. I've been in the business for 27 years. My father's still very much a working stuntman. He taught me driving, race motorcycles competitively. And that's when you started out in the industry, especially in the late 70s and early 80s, it was all about cars and motorcycles.
Camera you play for, if at all.
Yeah.
It's across Morpheus this way.
You know, I'm not making a mistake. I'm going to take us off very slowly so we don't run those trucks.
These guys slide in here and a T-bone in here. Now the guys in the fast lane are just boom, right over to the inside car, follow them out. There's nothing physically impossible.
Going this fast, how long does it take to get from there to here? At 50 miles an hour, it took me a minute and 15 seconds to get across the border. And then in 15 seconds to get from all the way there to the
It was nice to get in there in the beginning to see where they were going with it and try and get in their head a little bit about what they wanted to see. And then start working with something which was kind of new for me, was the pre-visualization. Tell them what I had in mind as far as what the traffic patterns looked like and whatever, and then they put it on the computer with actual speeds and distances traveled, and you actually get to see what it looks like before you went out to shoot.
He gives us speeds and basic capabilities of the drivers and how fast they can change lanes and all that stuff. And visual effects department has quite a lot to do as well on the freeway chase, so we are adding our bits and sort of breathing on things in our own way as well.
We have to do some animation based on storyboard and based on the director's vision, and then we have to make sure that this is something that can be shot.
I know the brothers were looking for something special, so we really put our thinking caps on like that and tried to bring a lot of toys to the playing field. At one point, I did a tryout. It was a free-for-all for vendors. We had remote control helicopters. We had go-karts. We had all these toys. Everybody, anybody, just come on up, show us what you got.
It allows you to get down to a regular car height. You can see that we're the same height or lower than any other car on the road, so you get more dynamic, realistic.
We were trying out a rig for jackknife on the freeway. This particular rigs were wheels that turned on the trailer that initiated to go. I had to make sure that I was going to get what I really wanted, so I may have pushed the guy a little farther than we should have at the time, but we needed to know. That's why you do tests.
When I first realized what kind of stunts were going to be involved on the freeway, I went up to R.A. Rondell and I said, "I'm scared." And he said, "I know. I'm going to take care of you."
They're very direct turns.
Okay.
They're not a big long, yes. We go through here, boom, we're going like that, boom, you jump out, all right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, R.A.
They have to never break character while they're in the car. So if any sign of fear or concern or anything, we're going to do the shot again.
It was very challenging for me to get on the bike.
Carrie-anne basically had some motorcycle background from, her childhood, but I taught her how to ride again.
Start off with a tiny little bike, master my tiny little bike, get on a little bigger bike. If it wasn't for R.A., I would never have been able to get on the motorcycle and do that. Him and my stunt double, Deb.
She makes the hardest cuts. Blows my mind. I mean, they just go like this. Oh, wow.
Debbie Evans, the Double Trinity, she's a 3-time national trials bike champion. I've worked with her for over 25 years in cars, motorcycles, whatever. She's by far the best there is.
Debbie's gonna come through here like this. She makes her move across through here. Instead of going all the way up into here, Debbie, and doing this, you're gonna cut through this car here. Okay, and then you do what you want to do to get through there.
And then we went to driving school. And Carrie-anne, to her credit, can drive her ass off. She would do the 180s and the 90s, and within 2 hours, she was whipping the car around like she'd been doing it all her life.
You always go to your right. Say, this is my right. Going that west. Make these moves dramatic. Come up on back ends and, make them dramatic. Get out of my way. I'm going this way. Carrie-anne, you gotta make the moves.
Location scouts out all over America looking for a freeway that we could potentially shut for 10 weeks, which, obviously narrows your options a fair bit.
America's all about roads. There's roads everywhere, super highway structures, cars. Everywhere we tried to go, no one would give up their road.
We did actually find one in the end, which was in Akron, Ohio. We got there and there was snow and it was really cold and freezing, lots of traffic authorities and access roads into freeway.
How long was it going to take us to reset? If we were on a practical freeway, 45 minutes to an hour to back up 100 vehicles and put them in number 1. I mean, that's just painful.
I remember we were like driving out of the center of Akron, you know, going to their airport. I think Owen said, well, maybe we should build a freeway somewhere.
This is where they're bashing out all the flats for the freeway. They start over the other side there, making the frames, they put the plywood on and then stand them up, and the plasterers put the cement finish on.
We got about 1,000 walls, and then when they get them out to the freeway where the K-rail is being poured right now, they'll all stack on top of that concrete K-rail and then be braced off from behind.
Conceptually, it was fantastic because it enabled us to have exactly the look we wanted, which was kind of like this corridor of death almost.
You walk around the corner and there's just this 1.5 miles of freeway. And the very end of it, it's backdropped by the most amazing vista of San Francisco. Sat at the end of it.
It's probably one of the biggest movie sets that's ever been built.
The set is it's 1.5 miles long. It was amazing the amount of material in it. It was like a big void.
A bunch of railroad cars.
A great deal of concrete.
3 lanes of traffic.
Flattage that's over 3 miles long. I couldn't actually tell you how many pieces of timber go into it. It's just a lot of
Times 20.
I forget that I'm on a set a lot of times.
I've shot car chases in downtown LA and Vancouver and Toronto and every place, but never had the ability to actually make a thing from scratch. I mean, we laid the asphalt, we poured the concrete. I mean, we built all that.
It's a giant playground, is what it became.
We can route traffic any way we feel like. Everyone's got enough space to try like full-on stunts with practice space, you know, to spare.
Got a mouthful of rubber. Good. Nice. You watch it, that's a rule. When you watch it, stunts, keep your mouth shut.
Yeah. This was an interesting show for us because we got to fabricate several different camera rigs. We put one on a motorcycle sidecar that went from 1 foot off the ground up to 6 feet. And the guy would sort of hike out like he was sailing on each side to keep it balanced. The motorcycle descender rig, it sort of looked like a square rigger sailing ship. It was actually, it's hydraulically operated with a motion control system.
I have the capability of getting in the back seat behind you and driving your vehicle. Right? Which is cool, but you can still use the steering wheel. And we have to come to an agreement. But don't fight me for the wheel, because I've been working out and I'm ready for it. I have a feeling your pastor may give me some assistance.
Is that for it?
Cadillac gave us their new 2003 sedan and also their SUV, our hero and villain car, I should say, in the chase, which were prototypes, so we had to learn about them too because there isn't a manual that comes with them.
And we had somewhere between 26 and 28 different Trinity vehicles, all with like different like roll cages in them, all with different degrees of bullet hits on them.
You've got cars flipping down beside me, and you go rounds and there's brass hitting me in the head. The whole freeway thing was just amazing.
Maybe you'll cut, make sure you stick this exaggerated up in the air. So we're good. Get it up like that, let him slide it.
Rock is such a character. He's like everything you'd imagine in a film set armorer. He's like, he's just big, bad American kind of, look what this gun can do, boom!
It's just like a standard Glock 17, which is a full-size Glock, but nobody really knows they make one in full auto. I'm the only civilian with them, and they're here for this.
Beautiful. It looks just like my 19.
Brass will be coming out about an inch apart on an arc, just like this.
Is that right?
You'll see it strobed out just like that, about an inch apart, you'll see the brass. It's really awesome.
Gunfire is the sound of freedom for Roccolotti. Okay, stand by. And action, Lawrence.
Actually, the project was so big, it was impossible to think about all at once.
RA was able to craft a very complicated car chase and bike chase in a way that has never been seen before.
Looked like a symphony to me, you know, this thing of cars coming and bouqueting out.
Machine gunning into the car.
Jackknifing semis and
5 cameras on the back, and you've got operators on all the cameras, and
4 main cars, each with 222 hits.
it's so relentless.
And then it became a challenge, you know, to try and keep the intensity going through the whole car chase. And the idea is the audience will be completely exhausted by the time it's over.
there was a lot of elements that had to all come together and not go wrong.
You just have to show up and deal with beat by beat by beat by beat.
We call them events. They're not accidents because they're on purpose. Brothers, they push you that little bit farther. We designed something on the computer that was amazing. Now you gotta suck it up and you gotta make it happen for real on camera and not just once. Take one, scene one.
Trinity's car coming along. Twins behind, no gunfire. So we got one camera position there on endless. Then we've got the motorcycle cam.
In the event of an accident, please stay back until we go in.
So I'll slide behind the green bus. We're gonna make a left-hand turn. Let me make the turn.
Action!
The big freeway scene.
Amazing how big it is.
It's a teamwork between the stunt department, the precision drivers, and the background players that are here.
We've got these people here and then another 150 or so back there.
You're paid to be in traffic all day, you know?
I grew up with a big 1.5 acre playground, if you will, in the backyard, and I used to turn my car every which way, sideways in the mud, crazy. I mean, I know how to handle cars.
We've got like 15 people on more walkies interspaced amongst all of the cars. But a lot of times, you know, we'll get reshuffled, so it'll be me running around with the giant bullhorn being professionally irritating.
In case anything gets out of control, we have to know what to do, and we have to be focused. Not distracted by a cameraman doing a documentary.
Okay, and now we're really honestly standing by.
So I'll give you a semi here just so we can sweep by something big and ominous, right? And another one back here. And then up ahead, just give you a couple of stunt cars so it's not the only one in the fast lane.
All right.
Okay.
Let's get out of here then.
Let me know when you want me to go set this traffic up out there.
Can't set up now.
Ah, good. It took you so long. So Jimmy, same program. Sorry to wake you. Same program, it's just it's the insert car, so it's a little bigger rig. Goodbye. When the insert car goes by you, go middle lane back over to the middle. Yeah, just dive right into the middle lane. Go right into the middle lane. Go hard all the way across to the right lane. Okay. Okay?
This is gonna be chaos, man.
Totally.
And that's it.
Up until the day I shot on that motorcycle, I said to R.A., I'm not telling you that I'm going to do this.
Any last words?
Pray for us.
On the radio for stop, slow down, whatever, they're going to use right on out.
I mean, I had to keep it down.
Girl, where you
That
going
was
there?
40.
About 50.
emergency lane and cut back and then right down the middle past the trucks. Does that help?
We were able to figure out a bike vehicle coming in at one speed and a whole array of cars coming in at another speed, a perfect safety path. The bike could fit its way through this puzzle just right.
So we got to mark all the moves with those markers where the cars go, but everything's got to be precise with the camera moves to that position. So she's going against traffic with semi-trucks underneath them and shit.
The safety path that is allowed would be filled with additional virtual cars and thusly look almost, completely impossible.
Truck top fight is a brilliant, brilliant piece of action.
And action, jump.
There's the agents show up, then you look up and Morpheus is riding on the truck, like surfing. It's very much like the bathroom fight in the first movie when Morpheus is overcome by Agent Smith. That's why it's really exciting, because Morpheus is incredibly vulnerable, which is why I chose not to wear my glasses for that fight.
Isn't this unbelievable? Look at this. This truck top is going to move through these hydraulics, which makes it really difficult for us because the whole top moves.
The samurai sword, it did require a particular kind of strength in the forearm area that I certainly had to develop.
When you're saying come for me, I mean, it's like it's not the same way you say come for me to knee. Right.
Come up and they go, all right, Dan, we want you to do this. You gotta come up and here you go. So then,
action! Daniel, you okay?
Yeah, I need ice.
Action!
You got one? Let's go for another one, see if we can't break the glass.
Go kick his ass.
It builds. It's really well thought out and brilliantly executed. So well crafted. It's so well constructed as a piece of entertainment.
Event 3 was where the agent Johnson crawls out of the police car and he's standing on the roof of his car and he jumps and lands on an ND car. It crashes and flips, and then he lands on Trinity's car, our hero, and she continues driving on with him on the front. And I just came up with a concept of how the car, when he leaves, we put a rear engine cannon, so we blew it up, and this is Clay Penny's baby, by the way.
We had that rigged with a pneumatic cannon, hood crush, fender blow, bumper flew out, windows blew, and then it flipped over.
So as it does that, this car slides sideways, and they do these two cars T-bone here, where they T-bone, they're dragging ramps behind them, so two cars flip.
The idea is to hit them, and so they come off the A-arm on the backside of the tire, and what it'll do is it'll ride up that ramp, pick her at the top end of the ramp, will pop it, and send the car over. Simple.
And then a car comes off the side this way, and then another one back behind, and then behind all of that is Gil Combs in his semi-truck, and he slides aside with Phil in the back of the frame, all coming forward. So the last thing you see is all this unfolding as Trinity's car makes the turn. Everybody's gonna be pretty much going, whoo, whoo, whoo. Just fade right in back behind him. Split lanes a little bit. Go all the way across to the fast lane to the slow lane.
I'm driving the ramp car with the camera in the back. Very cool shot.
Henry, how we doing on Johnny's cars? Okay, we're good to go? What makes us good to go? Don't yell at me, John.
Once the event unfolds, make sure you pull your cars over to the side before you get out and make any moves towards any other cars. So we always leave a lane open for medical personnel.
Okay. Stay away from the vehicle till we're in and out of it.
We're running one camera at 150 frames a second. Could jam. If it does jam before the event, Greg Lunsell will yell over the radio, abort.
We've got 5 cameras on the back, and you've got operators on all the cameras, and I had this sign that was like above me, which was like the bail out point, you know, where if you went past that sign, you were committed and you couldn't stop. Had all these cars barreling down behind the camera vehicle. I'm like looking at all these cars, and then, you know, I go, roll cameras, roll, roll, roll. 2 of the cameras didn't roll, and, you know, I look up at the sign, and like the sign's like, you know, 5 feet, you know, in front of me. So I go, abort, abort. And all these cars, we all come like to a screaming halt, and we stop, and I remember all these doors coming open, you know, and all these stunt guys like getting out and looking at me going, are you absolutely insane? What did you call abort for, you know? And I said, well, the cameras weren't working. So we go back and we do it all again. It's like this amazing stunt with this sort of ballet of cars flipping through the air and crashing and smashing and sliding and trucks sliding into the back. And I remember walking up to the back of like the Burley van, we call it, which was the director's van. And I throw open the doors and I'm just about to go. That was incredible. And I see those 2 guys, Larry and Andy, look up from the monitors, and I knew we were going to do it again. I'll just get ready to go through the event again, get Claire to tell you what we're doing, and then I'll just get, we'll just tell you where all the paramedics are in place.
Nothing's changed. It's all the same program. We're still we're towing behind the insert car, 50 miles an hour. On an action cue from James, they'll release the cable from the insert car. Release the cable from the flip car, then the insert car. They'll call a cue, we'll flip the car, all the rest of the gags will unfold just like we did the last time. Nothing's changed.
Everybody saw what happened before, do everything exactly the same, and we got it great.
Fire the last one in the car. That's what I'm talking about. Woo! Josh, everybody right here, right on. Everybody. To our medical staff, man, you're right there for us. To my crew, you brought this to life, man. It's insane. I'm sure you'll hear praises from them, but I wanted you to hear it from me. That was intense. That was exactly what we practiced, and that was awesome, man. You guys own a big one.